And we are officially in debate season for the 2024 presidential election, and as expected, it's already very dumb. The first presidential debate between Trump and Biden is tonight, but the news cycle around it has already been extra buzzy. In typical Trump fashion, he's already priming his supporters to believe that he has either already won a debate that hasn't happened, or that if and when he loses, it'll be because the whole thing was rigged against him, or because the moderator didn't like him, or because he chose to lose.
CNN is a hostile environment. And
I guess how much Adderall are they going to give him? How many vitamins is he going to be on?
A little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass, and they want to strengthen him up.
My bill, the no juicing Joe, which would require him to divulge, to report to the American people anytime that he takes a mind-altering stimulant, like we know he's going to have to do before this debate.
I think it's going to be exceptionally telling if they try to pull a fast one, if they try to mute or silence Donald Trump.
Right.
The American
They get lauded among their peers by being nasty and unfair.
I spoke to President Trump just a little over an hour ago. Absolutely love him. I love him. I have so much faith in him. I have complete faith that he is going to hit a home run, but he is walking in to a trap. He is walking into a rigged debate. He is walking into an arena filled with people that want to murder him. He's going to stand 10 feet away from Joe Biden, who wants to put him in prison the rest of his life.
And he's already been calling attention to Biden's waning mental state. For the longest time, the narrative has been that Biden has dementia, whereas Trump, who is falling asleep during his recent court appearances and unable to control his own bodily functions, does not. Now he's got his lackey doctor petitioning for drug testing prior to the debate, a test that I'm not entirely sure Trump or his children or even his team would pass, but this all comes back to the allegation that Biden is snorting cocaine or something before public appearances. Representative Ronnie Jackson, the doctor, said on Fox News recently, quote, we have seen recently in his State of the Union address that there was a Joe Biden that came out that was not similar at all to what we see on a day-to-day basis for the last 3.5 years. And there's just really no way to explain that other than he was on something, that they'd given him medications. And this isn't an endorsement of drug use, but I always just assume that most very famous and very public people are on some kind of performance-enhancing drug. Most of them are probably just caffeine addicts, but I think it'd be a safe assumption that a lot of them are at least, chomping on some kind of methamphetamine. Regular people need Adderall just to make it through their work days because as a society, we don't live right. So if a nearly 80-year-old man needs to boost himself because he's expected, for some reason, to do the most stressful and demanding job in the world, then that would make sense to me. Anyway, this line of rhetoric is nothing new for Trump. All of his rivals are apparently on drugs, while he definitely is not. In 2016, Hillary was on drugs. In 2020, Biden was on drugs. Now Biden's on drugs again. When offering a source for his intel back in 2020, he said, quote, "You can check out the internet." Also, never mind the reports that the Trump White House was allegedly, quote, awash in speed, according to a former official. Not just that, but according to a comedian who worked on Celebrity Apprentice, Trump needed Adderall just to get through filming. He said, quote, he snorts Adderall as his maintenance high. When he gets too wired, this is tempered with benzodiazepines. There's also a robust use of cocaine and methamphetamine in the Trump orbit, and I'll leave it at that. NYC is also full of folks with anecdotes of Trump's drug use. They come up to me and share stories all the time. Look into the Dr. Bornstein stuff if you want to know more, and ask yourself why Trump sent his bodyguard Keith Schiller to strong-arm the doctor and steal his medical records shortly after being elected POTUS. Notably, Trump has not sued that comedian for slander. Alright, so you guys get it, but I want to know, depending on when you watch this video, are you planning to watch the debate or did you watch it? It's supposed to get great ratings and viewership numbers, which we know is Trump's absolute favorite thing to hear, but even as someone who does what I do, I stopped watching debates a long time ago. Perhaps at one time they were helpful for a voting populace in times when we weren't so oversaturated with everything these people think and feel and do and say. Perhaps they were helpful in a time when the nation was not so polarized and divided between two distinct sides, when we actually needed to hear and see our potential future leaders communicate and defend complex platforms and ideas. We already know what they think and how they feel. We know everything we need to know about their mental states, their moral compasses, and their competency levels. We know what they're going to say at the debate and how they're going to say it. I would be very surprised if I wake up on Friday morning and read a headline that either of them said anything remotely surprising during their debate. These candidates, who are supposed to be the best of us, the most capable of leading not just us, but the world, can barely adhere to high school debate guidelines and rules. It's all a farce. Our lives are the debates. We live within the debates. The debates are nonstop on social media and in the news. These televised debates have become more akin to gladiator fights in a coliseum. The audience is not listening to hear which candidate is more thoughtful or eloquent or effective. They're watching to see how badly their guy beats the other guy, and after the fact, they'll all come away believing that their guy won. There is no objectivity anymore. And frankly, at this point, if anyone is swayed politically by a debate performance, that's really operating with blinders on. You can't responsibly judge either of these two candidates on a single or even a few debate performances when there is a plethora of more meaningful data for you to draw upon should you choose to be an informed voter. Anyone can put on a performance. It doesn't mean that much. All right, I'm going to leave it there. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.